As I have run this YouTube channel, I've had the opportunity to use a lot of styluses, probably in the hundreds, and those are coming from every make and model and type of technology out there, and I've learned a lot. And today, I want to go over my favorites and what their strengths and weaknesses are, and what you should be looking for in a digital stylus. Hello, my name is Brad. I review tech for creative professionals, and since most of my videos are really targeted towards artists and illustrators, those are the type of things that I'm looking for in a stylus. Now, the good news here is if you're looking for a stylus to just use to either navigate around your tablet or for handwriting and taking notes and that sort of thing, anything that works well for an artist is going to work really well for any of those other tasks as well. Because as an illustrator, you need accuracy, you need your pen not to wobble and not have any kind of digital wave to it. You need to have good pressure sensitivity. So if you want a thicker line, you can apply more pressure. If you want a thinner line, less, or if you just want to apply less paint. So those sorts of things translate to a lot of other tasks outside of art. So what I have here is just a pile of many of the styluses I had sitting around my office that I grabbed to use it as an example today. The first thing I'm going to talk about is drawing on iPads, then I'm going to go to Android tablets, and then Windows, and then I'm going to talk specifically about the pens that are available for digital drawing tablets like Wacom, Huion, XP Pen, things that illustrators would use. So if you want to jump to that part of the video to find the thing you're looking for, I've added some chapter markers down below for that. And if you are just diving into this world for the first time and are excited to use your pen and want to use it more for art or learn more about art, check out my website, bradsartschool.com, where I have some of my courses. I've got some discounts going on right now. If you're brand spanking new, the one I recommend is Learn to Draw in 60 Days, because every day there's a new lesson, there's homework with that lesson, and we build skills every single day, and you take the skills you learned yesterday, you apply it to the next day, and you just keep building. And it's really designed for people to learn the basics, so when they jump into more complicated art tutorials down the road, they have that foundation. So anyway, enough of that. Let's jump into these pens. And we're going to start with the simplest ecosystem to kind of dive into, which are just iPads, because that is going to rely on this. This is the Apple Pencil. Now, there's several different flavors of Apple Pencil out there right now, and so it's gotten a little more complicated over the last few years. Now, all the iPads that have come out in the last year using this is the Apple Pencil Pro, and this thing can do everything. It's a fantastic stylus. It's one of the best styluses you can use on any platform, anywhere. It's also probably the most expensive stylus out there. I think this thing is coming in at about $130, $140 if you buy it new, but it does have all of the bells and whistles. For example, some of the new things they've added this year is the ability to squeeze the barrel, to bring up new tools on the iPad. The pressure sensitivity is great. The accuracy is great. All of the things you need a stylus to do, this does very, very well. Quick note, if you're wondering, what is Brad drawing on in this section? I have a list of all the drawing tablets that I've tested and that I recommend. I rank them over on my website. So if you are wondering what is the best Android tablet or Windows tablet or drawing tablet, just go there and you're going to see all my reviews, and it's all listed and linked down below in the description. Now, if you're using an older iPad, it may use the original Apple Pencil, or where is it? This guy. This is the Apple Pencil 2. Now, the Apple Pencil 2 is very similar to the Apple Pencil Pro. It slaps on top of the iPad where you can charge it. It doesn't have all the features, like you can't squeeze the barrel or anything like that, but really that's kind of an extra. In terms of how it works with pressure sensitivity and accuracy and that sort of thing, it's pretty much identical. Same thing with the original Apple Pencil 1. If you have the entry-level iPad, which is a really good deal right now, that's the one with the face button. That's an older iPad, but still, I think it holds up well, and the Apple Pencil is still really good. Or if you get a used iPad that's a little bit older, that's where that Apple Pencil 1 comes in. Now, Apple started selling this. I'm not a huge fan of this one. This is the USB Apple Pencil. It's technically called Apple Pencil USB-C. And this is cheaper, and so I think a lot of people are going to be interested in this one, but unfortunately the reason it's cheaper is they've taken away the pressure sensitivity. Now, if you're just looking to take notes or do that sort of thing, you're going to be fine. You can navigate the iPad fine with it. If you're an illustrator, that pressure sensitivity is what makes the stylus so good, and is probably something you're really going to want. So even though this is cheaper, I would stay away from it. There are other styluses out there available for the iPad, and they are cheaper, but they kind of run into the same problem. This is the Logitech Crayon. There's actually a newer version. I have never opened this and never used it, but it's kind of the same thing as this USB Type-C pencil, but it's a little bit cheaper. And there's dozens and dozens of styluses out there that replicate the same thing. I think these all stick together because they have magnets in them. This is also it's not an Apple Pencil, but it's a stylus that works on the iPad. It does not have pressure sensitivity. It connects with Bluetooth, but this one is also cheaper. I think these tend to run around $20 or so. So if you just need something to take notes with, these actually work pretty well. But for art and illustration, you definitely want to stick with the standard Apple Pencil Pro. Next up, let's talk about Android, because there's a couple different styluses out there for Android. The one I recommend to most people are these Samsung Galaxy tabs, because they come packed in with these S Pens. Not every Samsung tablet does, but many of them do. These are tiny little lightweight styluses that come in the box, and they are powered by Wacom. Now, if you know anything about the drawing industry or the art and illustration world, Wacom is a really big name, and that's usually a sign of quality. And that's no different with any of these pens. I have reviewed a lot of Samsung tablets that come with Wacom pens. I really like these things. They have little rubber tips because what you're doing is you're drawing on a glass screen, and when you do, you tend to have the pencils slip around a little bit. So they've added a little bit of soft rubber to the tip, which gives you a little bit more drag. Now, it's not a natural feeling. It does take some time to get used to, but it does give you more control when you're handwriting, when you're drawing, and that's kind of nice. Pressure curve on these things is fantastic. Accuracy is really good. These are what I recommend if you're going into the Android world. One, because they're packed in, and so that's a cheaper option, but also just it's the best pen out there. Everything else that I've used on Android is kind of it's not that great. Many of them use something like this. This is a USI stylus, which is like a universal stylus, which is a technology that any manufacturer can come along and take and add to their product, and it's going to work with a whole range of styluses. And one of the problem with these is, even though they are accurate and the pressure sensitivity works fairly decently, there's a fair amount of wobble to that line. So when you're drawing, when you're illustrating and you're trying to get that really crisp, smooth, accurate line, it's hard to do that with the stylus. There's just a little bit of weight. And for my sort of illustration, especially when I'm doing a lot of line work, that's just a killer. I don't like that. I'd rather just use a stylus where that's not a problem. So those are really your two options on Android, is either the Samsung or the USI styluses. That's why I tend to recommend Samsung tablets over everything else out there, even though there are some fantastic Android tablets in terms of like the screen and the refresh rate and all that cool stuff. There's some great deals out there, better deals than Samsung. But when you get into the stylus world for artists, they're not so good. If you're just looking at handwriting and kind of using the pen to navigate, a USI stylus is going to be fine. Next up, let's talk about the Windows world. This is just as varied as the Android world is. The main pen that you're going to find on most Windows devices is like, where is it? I need my Surface Pen. I've got several Surface Pens here. This is the Surface Pen Slim. Now, this is the latest pen that Microsoft has been putting with their Surface devices. And this one isn't half bad. It's using a technology called Windows Pen Protocol, or Microsoft Pen Protocol, MPP. Now, overall, MPP is only okay. It's decent for drawing. I use these slim pens because they're better than many of the Microsoft Protocol pens out there. Here is an older Surface Pen. This older pen has a lot more wobble than this slim pen. So if you go with a Surface device, the slim pen is definitely a huge upgrade. The downside is, for whatever reason, Microsoft hasn't really rolled out many of the improvements and changes they've made in the slim pen in the other Microsoft Pen Protocol pens out there. So there are a lot of devices that are using the same technology, but you're getting a lot of that wiggle and wobble when you're drawing. I mean, it can be really, really bad on some of these devices, and that's something to definitely be careful of when you're looking at a Windows device. The good thing here is that those styluses tend to be universal. So even though these Microsoft pens are really expensive, they can be as expensive as like an Apple Pencil oftentimes, but you don't have to get the Microsoft pen. You could go out and get a cheaper pen on Amazon that works with these devices. It's going to give you the same wiggly line, but you're going to save some money. Now, you might be wondering, are there any Windows tablets out there that do have good pens, that I can use for art and illustration, and you're going to get a smoother line. Well, see, this is where Samsung's interesting. They have been using the same technology on their Android phones, tablets, and on their laptops. So I've been reviewing some of the Samsung Galaxy books as part of the reason why I have so many Samsung pens is because they use the similar pen across like all of their devices. And this I would definitely recommend. So if you're looking to draw directly on a laptop, Samsung has some 360-degree laptops that are a really good option that are using the same S Pen, same technology that you see on Android. These are going to give you a great line, great performance, accuracy, pressure sensitivity, and the same S Pen that works on your phone is going to work on your laptop. It's going to work on your Android tablet. And something I didn't mention on the Android side is these are also battery free, so you never have to worry about charging them like you do with an Apple Pencil or like one of the Windows pens. And it comes packed in the box. There's a ton of benefits to these inexpensive little like S Pens that Samsung has been passing around. So the Windows side ends up being a lot like the Android side, where there are some options, but most of the pen options, I'd say 90% of the laptops that come with pens or are pen enabled, don't have good pens. They just aren't really great for illustration. If you're looking at note-taking and that sort of thing, an MPP pen is fine. Otherwise, if you're looking at art, I would look at something like a Windows tablet made specifically by Wacom or Huion, or one of those Samsung tablets I mentioned before. So this last category that I want to talk about are drawing tablet pens. Which one is the best? There's a lot of manufacturers out there now. Wacom is one of the most popular ones out there. Huion has been catching up. XP Pen has been catching up. There's a newer brand out there called Sense Labs. Where's the Sense Labs pen? Are you Sense Labs? Yes. I thought I had two Sense Labs here. Yeah, I got a narrow one and a wide one. Now these are modeled after the pens that Wacom has been putting with their Intuos and Cintiq tablets for years and years and years. For artists and illustrators, these are really nice because they flare out at the top. They're more comfortable to hold. There are now thin pens that a lot of these manufacturers are putting in the box as well, especially on the higher end tablets that have more bells and whistles. And this has kind of a rubbery grip. This feels really good to hold. It's really well weighted. Sometimes styluses that come with Android tablets, like the S Pen, are really lightweight. But these artist styluses are really designed to be held all day for people who are drawing all the time, who want that extra grip. Another thing you're going to find on a lot of those tablets as well is you're going to find these little buttons, and these interact with Windows and Macs in various ways. Like the front one is like your right click, and then the second one I think you can map to whatever you want, or maybe it's a middle click by default. Many of these tablets have settings that you can go in and modify and change. Another thing you're going to find on the back of some of them are these little erasers. They're digital erasers. Not every drawing tablet has these. Wacom, many of Wacom's do. I don't think their newer ones do. These Sense Labs ones do, and these are pressure sensitive erasers. So if you're drawing with a pencil here and you flip it around in Photoshop, it automatically knows it's flipped around and it changes to the eraser tool so you can erase like a pencil. That's kind of neat. But these styles of stylus come in a lot of different flavors and a lot of different types. This one is an XP pen stylus. This one is a Huion stylus. They are very similar. Now, in terms of line and quality, most of the stuff out there nowadays is really, really good. If I was to say what is the best, like if you're looking for just hands down best stylus, no questions asked, I would definitely go with Wacom. As much as I like Huion and XP Pen and Sense Labs and some of the other brands out there, they have improved dramatically in recent years. There's a little bit of line wobble if you're drawing slow angled lines. I can see that like mechanical wave there. You can get rid of that by just turning up the smoothing and that sort of thing. So what you often find is a Wacom device that works with their pens is going to cost significantly more than the other ones. If you want the best experience, if you need the best experience, you're going to pay for it. These are going to get you 90%, 95% of the way there for like half the price. So I think for a lot of people, especially if you're a new artist, if you're just starting out, these are definitely good enough. If you're just jumping into art, you're probably not going to notice that sort of thing. If you are coming from the Wacom ecosystem, like you've been using an Intuos tablet for the last 10 years and you're ready to upgrade or try something new and you just want to save a little bit of money, that's when you probably might notice like a little bit of difference in terms of quality with these. But otherwise, you are getting really, really close. So To recap, if you're going with an iPad, Apple Pencil's still the best way to go. If you're looking at Android, I recommend Samsung. Same things in the Windows ecosystem, Samsung tends to be the way to go. And then when you get to drawing tablet world, the good news is everything is really good nowadays. Wacom is the standard bearer, but XP Pen, Sense Labs, Huion, they've all improved to the point where I have no problem recommending them. So what do you think? Let me know down below in the comments. Thank you all for watching, and I hope you have a great day.